save a dying Sakura tree by navigating a Japanese pop-up book. That's essentially Tengami in a nutshell. While the visuals are absolutely stunning and the soundscape more so, what makes the atmospheric puzzler stand out is its paper folding mechanic. But does this truly add to the overall experience, or is it just another gimmick that fails to stick the landing? There's no denying the irresistible appeal of Japanese-themed aesthetics. The image of pink cherry blossom petals blowing in the wind, complemented perfectly by a striking red torii gate in the middle of a forest. The painterly art style in Tengami coats the whole thing in an evocative, almost ethereal glow, which is exactly why it was exciting to dive into at first glance. It's been out for a while now, but it's made its way back to mobile thanks to the Crunchyroll Game Vault. That means having to have access to the subscription service's library of mobile offerings for the price of admission. And while it's interesting to see a non-anime related entry like Tengami in the mix, it's a shame too, given how it doesn't exactly live up to expectations. All the elements here, from the minimalist landscape to the heart-wrenching soundtrack, want you to believe that there's an emotional tale buried deep in there somewhere. So you may go into this thinking it had something memorable to offer despite its short 1-hour runtime. But all it does is give you eye candy to marvel at and melodies to listen to, which unfortunately aren't enough to really make an impact. The visuals are the star of the show here, as even the gameplay leaves a lot to be desired. Initially, the paper folding mechanic is such an ingenious idea. You'll get to swipe through different creases and folds to connect staircases, or flip the pages of a pop-up book until you uncover hidden objects you otherwise wouldn't see. While that's an inspired concept in of itself, it's the execution that falls by the wayside here. Objects you need to tap will emit a glowing effect to show that they can be interacted with, but they're not exactly the most intuitive, so thank goodness there's a hint system. There's also a needless repetition that gets tedious because the main character walks excruciatingly slowly. One may think it's meant to make you appreciate the scenery around you, but given the frustrating controls, what's supposed to be exciting becomes more of a chore. The folds from the pop-up book are incredibly interesting. Apparently everything you see within the game can be recreated in real life, so the accuracy and the faithfulness to the art of paper folding are off the charts. Some clues are hidden within the folds themselves, which adds another dimension of problem solving to an otherwise run-of-the-mill narrative puzzler. And we can't end the review without talking about said narrative, especially as, since we're the player, we're partial to the story a game tells no matter the genre. So you can imagine the disappointment when, after the final pop-up page was turned, there was no satisfying ending to it all. No overarching tale, no rhyme or reason as to why we've been struggling to revive a dying cherry tree this whole time. There's just the abrupt end to the nameless protagonist's tale, a story that ends as mysteriously as it starts. I suppose if it's a symbolism for, much like the Sakura petals that bloom and fall, the impermanence of life, one can accept the fact that that's all there is to it, that we need to move through this world caring for the trees around us, that we go back and forth solving problems that may seem tedious at first glance, but actually build our character in the long run. That clues aren't always obvious, and that sometimes the things we're looking for are right in front of our eyes, and we just need to look at them from a different angle. All we have to do is turn the next pop-up page. Or it could all simply be that life is a pointless struggle and has no meaning in the end. And since it's a little bit of a downer to believe the latter, let's just stick to the profound former, and in that respect, Tengami makes all the sense in the world. Crunchyroll's Tengami is a visually stunning puzzler set in a Japanese pop-up book. The paper folding mechanic and the seemingly emotional narrative don't quite live up to the expectations, but if you're looking for a short adventure that's more eye candy than anything else, this will no doubt do the trick.